Hello friends, welcome to Star Explainer. Tales of Herding Gods Part 416 explains based on novel. So let's start explanation. Heavenly Lady Qiong's gaze turned, and she gently asked, Emperor, do you want to go to my place? Qin Mu's gaze flashed as he walked forward. He shook his head and said, I'm tired. I want to go back to the Hall of Nourishment to nourish myself. I will go to your place another day. Heavenly Lady Qiong flew into his palm, and looked up at Celestial Emperor's face. She smiled charmingly. Ever since the fall of the ancient Celestial Emperor's corporeal body, the rift between us, the 10 Celestial Venerables, has gotten wider. It will be bad if it continues. Do you really believe what Celestial Venerable Mu said? She thinks that I'm one of the 10 Celestial Venerables. She doesn't know that I'm Celestial Venerable Mu. Qin Mu's heart fluttered, and he walked on, plainly saying, everything is said and done for a reason. I know Celestial Venerable Mu is full of tricks, and that one can't believe him fully. However, he doesn't have a need to trick us, as Celestial Venerable Hua and Celestial Venerable Shu are returning. We will know whether he's lying by asking them. Heavenly Lady Qiong raised her eyebrows and whispered, then, who do you suspect of being the Grand Emperor? Qin Mu vaguely asked, Celestial Venerable Qiong, are you probing me? Heavenly Lady Qiong laid down on her side in his palm, her hand propping up her head. Her figure and curves were elegant and charming as she gently said, everyone is panicking in the Heaven Alliance. All the Celestial Venerables are paranoid of one another. The Grand Emperor is causing trouble despite us not having quelled the ancient gods yet. Now, that thief Qin Yi is affecting the situation in the dark from Carefree Village. Whether the celestial heavens live or die rides on this moment. It may seem secure, but it's riddled with weaknesses, which makes me worried. I want to find a friend with the same motive to ally with. This friend isn't me. Qin Mu coldly smiled. You found the wrong person, Celestial Venerable Qiong. I don't trust you at all. Your origin is peculiar, which makes you most likely to be the Grand Emperor. Heavenly Lady Qiong gave a cold humph, stood up, and pressured Celestial Emperor's corporeal body to a stop. Qin Mu's eyebrows were raised as he plainly asked, Celestial Venerable Qiong, are you here to look for a friend or an enemy? Do you really want to make me your enemy? Heavenly Lady Qiong smiled and flew from his palm, then said, I'm a Celestial Venerable as well. I'm not weaker than you. If you want to ally with me, I'll give you the chance. Qin Mu gave a sigh of relief as he continued towards the Hall of Nourishment, thinking, D****. The 10 Celestial Venerables may be paranoid of one another, but they also want to form secret alliances with other Celestial Venerables too. Now that Heavenly Lady Qiong came for me, the other Celestial Venerables might too. I might not be busted now, but that doesn't mean I won't be in the future. I have to quickly return this corporeal body. He couldn't go to the Hall of Fragrance, or the Patriarch Creation Palace. Now, he just wanted to return Celestial Emperor's corporeal body before other Celestial Venerables sought him out. After all, he wasn't one of the 10 Celestial Venerables. He continued walking and got closer to the Hall of Nourishment when a voice rang out. Where did you come from, Emperor? Qin Mu stopped. He was nervous, but he calmly said, it's my lady, Lady Yang. I just came from Lady Qiong's place. The one speaking was Heavenly Lady Yang, Celestial Venerable Yang of the 10 Celestial Venerables. She was elegant and proper in demeanor, and she carried a white cat with her. She was accompanied by a dozen or so ladies who were serving her. The white cat's fur was entirely white like snow, and it lazily laid in her embrace. It closed its eyes sleepily while extending its sharp claws to stretch. Then, it looked at Qin Mu. Heavenly Lady Yang acted pitifully as she said, you neglected me while you went to be with Sister Qiong. I feel heartbroken. Qin Mu felt a headache. Heavenly Lady Yang showed signs of anticipation as she gently said, "Emperor, my lasting joy palace is close, do you want to go there?" The white cat in her embrace extended its red tongue to lick the fur on its paws. It glanced at Qin Mu, meowed, and arched its body on Heavenly Lady Yang's breasts. Qin Mu hesitated before saying, "I need to go to the Hall of Nourishment for nourishment, so no thanks." Heavenly Lady Yang smiled. "Emperor, didn't I nourish you just now?" Qin Mu was shocked. So, the one who summoned me to the Hall of Nourishment was Heavenly Lady Yang. This celestial venerable summoned me, before the others, to question me about the Great Void and Carefree Village. Her news source is quick. She received the news faster than the other celestial venerables. Heavenly Lady Yang looked at his feet, and saw blood stains on them. She smiled and said, "You are all bloody after going to Sister Cheong's place. You truly do need to nourish yourself." I didn't know that she was so fierce. I shall stop disturbing you. Qin Mu laughed and said, "Relax, I will go to your place in a few days." After he was done, he continued walking towards the Hall of Nourishment. Heavenly Lady Yang watched him walk away before smiling. This person is gutsy to trick me. Xiao Qi, which celestial venerable was hiding in the corporeal body just now? I want to know what he was doing in Celestial Emperor's ancestral grounds. The white cat leaped down and walked around. It was a cat, but it walked with a solemn and elegant gait. A man's voice came from its mouth. It was very deep, and it hesitantly said, "It wasn't one of the celestial venerables." Heavenly Lady Yang was stunned and couldn't help but ask, "Xiao Qi, you are saying that the person inside Celestial Emperor's corporeal body just now wasn't one of the 10 celestial venerables?" The cat named Xiao Qi said, "He wasn't. I have never seen him before, so I can't identify him. However, if I see him again, I'll be able to." Heavenly Lady Yang blinked and thought, could it be that fellow celestial venerable Mu? He can't pilot Celestial Emperor's corporeal body, though. If not him, who could it be? The white cat's body grew in size, before he suddenly became a human general with silver armor and white robes. He was handsome. I can follow him and find out who he is. Heavenly Lady Yang extended her hand and smiled. This person isn't normal. People who can pilot Celestial Emperor's corporeal body are strong. If you follow him, it will be dangerous. Return to my embrace. That handsome general ran back into her embrace as a white cat. He arched in her embrace before lazily falling asleep. The maids with Heavenly Lady Yang seemed to be used to it, as they merely followed her back to Lasting Joy Palace. Qin Mu returned to the Hall of Nourishment, and upon entering, he saw Celestial Venerable Hao with his hands behind his back, waiting for him. Qin Mu's heart jumped. He ignored him as he walked by him. Although he looked calm, his heart pounded in his chest. Qin Mu steadily sat down and asked, "Why are you here, Celestial Venerable Hao?" Celestial Venerable Hao looked up and plainly said, "Ming Yue sought you out, and you took him to the ancestral grounds. You two took a long time to come out. What were you two doing?" Ming Yue. Qin Mu was stunned, and he smiled. Ming Yue should be the Crown Prince of the East Palace's name. Now I know. He leisurely said, "Crown Prince Ming Yue is the descendant of Celestial Emperor, so it's fine for him to go to the ancestral grounds." Celestial Venerable Hao, we are both Celestial Venerables. Do I have to report everything I do to you? Celestial Venerable Hao gave a humph and said, "Don't forget how you lot only climbed to your positions with my help. Which one of you could have fought against Celestial Venerable Yun, Celestial Venerable Ling, and Celestial Venerable Yu? It's because of me that you lot could reach the precious position of Celestial Venerable, that you lot could obtain the power you have now." Qin Mu smiled. "And it's because of you that the Grand Emperor became one of the 10 Celestial Venerables and a great hidden threat." Celestial Venerable Hao, you may be powerful, but I'm not a pushover. Don't talk to me in that arrogant tone. Celestial Venerable Hao looked at him while clutching his fists. Qin Mu tried very hard to overcome his fear and look back at him. Celestial Venerable Hao loosened his fists and plainly said, "You believe Qin Mu about the Grand Emperor being among us? He was trying to divide us, to get us to fight amongst ourselves. While it's indeed unexpected that he came out of the Great Void alive, he's not exactly truthful. He hid a lot of things from us." Qin Mu leaned on Celestial Emperor's throne and lazily said, "While he's not exactly truthful, Celestial Venerable Hua and Celestial Venerable Shu should be back soon, right? When they get back, we will know whether Qin Mu's words are real or fake." Celestial Venerable Hao's gaze fell on the injuries on his legs. His pupils contracted as he said, "Did you take Crown Prince Ming Ye there to use his blood to take the precious artifacts in the ancestral grounds? Those are mine and my family's things. You can't take them." Qin Mu playfully said, "You seem to be very concerned about Crown Prince Ming Ye. Your relationship seems to go beyond that of brotherhood." Celestial Venerable Hao brushed his sleeves and left. His voice came from afar, saying, "You better repair this body. Also, Crown Prince Ming Ye is my brother. If you dare do anything against him, I'll kill you regardless of which Celestial Venerable you are." Qin Mu gave a furious humph, only relaxing after seeing him leave. He sat on the Emperor's throne as if he was paralyzed. Celestial Venerable Hao's relationship with Crown Prince Ming Ye is abnormal. The latter seems to be more like his son than his brother. Celestial Emperor's forehead cracked open, and Qin Mu flew out, visibly perplexed as he thought, "The relationships in the royal family are chaotic. I can't stay in this corporeal body anymore despite how exciting it was, or I'll eventually get busted. I have to leave this hall of nourishment immediately." He shook his body and morphed into a maid before walking out of the hall. As soon as he walked out, he saw Celestial Venerable Hong walking towards him. He was wearing extremely wide robes with large sleeves. He looked like a kind elder in those white robes of his that had loose sleeves. His facial hair was white too. He treated everyone kindly. "Little girl, is the Emperor inside?" Celestial Venerable Hong smiled. To answer Celestial Venerable, "He is still inside," Qin Mu submissively said. Celestial Venerable Hong waved his sleeves and walked inside. Qin Mu immediately picked up his pace. He went to the corner of the long corridor, and changed himself into a swimming snake. He went into the bushes to reach the pool in front. He entered the water and became a large koi, swimming in the river parallel to the chambers of concubines. He swam to the imperial garden, and became a green frog. He went ashore and became a civet cat, after reaching the back of a tree. He walked alongside the edges of the palace walls before jumping on them to go through the halls. Soon, the civet cat that was Qin Mu jumped down into the shadows beneath the wall. A black figure crept in the shadows of the wall as it kept itself near the ground. Qin Mu only walked out of the shadows to walk towards his residence, when he reached the outskirts of the Jade capital. In the Hall of Nourishment, Celestial Venerable Hong looked at Celestial Emperor's corporeal body, frowning. It had injuries all over its legs. He couldn't help but shake his head. These guys, they don't know how to treat things well. After all, this body is the face of the celestial heavens. Who piloted this corporeal body to the ancestral grounds? Wait. That maid just now had something off about her. There couldn't have been only one maid serving Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. His consciousness burst forth and surrounded the Hall of Nourishment to look for clues and inconsistencies to find the maid. His consciousness was powerful, and it caused a great disturbance. Instantly, other consciousnesses burst forth from far away, collided with his. Lightning and thunder struck all around the Hall of Nourishment. The thunder rumbled. It was clearly a peculiarity, caused by the collision of several Celestial Venerables' consciousnesses. Celestial Venerable Hong retracted his consciousness and laughed. "My Dao friends, do you all think that I'm the Grand Emperor? Is that why you probe me in such a way? We have always been brothers and sisters. When did we become so paranoid and suspicious of one another?" The consciousnesses in the air were dispersed, and calmness was restored. Celestial Venerable Hong frowned and thought, that suspicious maid probably escaped due to their delay. She was the one who piloted the corporeal body to the ancestral grounds. Her sneakiness could only suggest that the ancestral grounds are. He hastily left the Hall of Nourishment and moved towards Celestial Emperor's birthplace. When Celestial Venerable Hong got there, he saw Celestial Venerable Hao, Celestial Venerable Gong, Celestial Venerable Chiong, Celestial Venerable Yang, and the others there too. Their expressions were serious and solemn as they gazed at the bunch of light formed by the great Tao purple light. In it, one part of the eggshell was gone. Who took it? Celestial Venerable Hao coldly said, "If you hand it over now, I can forgive you." There were, in total, 2 eggshells. When Celestial Emperor's true corporeal body was around, the Heaven Alliance was even messier internally. One only needed to control Celestial Emperor's corporeal body to enter the ancestral land and steal the eggshells. Except that, at that time, none of them wanted anyone to possess the eggshells. The strongest objection came from Celestial Venerable Hao. The other Celestial Venerables and other members of the Heaven Alliance also objected to taking away the eggshells based on their own reasons. Later, the Heaven Alliance was unified internally. Celestial Venerable Ling, Celestial Venerable Yu, and the rest of the elders dropped out of the picture, leaving only Celestial Venerable Hao, Celestial Venerable Hong, and their forces. Although their detractors were now gone, Celestial Emperor's corporeal body wasn't around anymore. Hence, they were unable to take the eggshells. Despite the fact that everybody incessantly coveted the treasure in Celestial Emperor's ancestral land, no one had the power to take away the eggshells, so they gave up. Celestial Venerable Hao also made several attempts, even driving the divine weapon version of Celestial Venerable Yu into the ancestral land. In the end, he still wasn't able to get close to the sacrificial altar. All along, he had considered the 2 pieces of eggshells as something he could retrieve easily. Moreover, since Celestial Emperor was born from the egg and was his father, he felt that anything belonging to Celestial Emperor would naturally be his to inherit. Little did he expect that, while they were guarding against each other, someone would actually take the opportunity to infiltrate the ancestral land and steal one of the eggshells. Celestial Venerable Hao looked around his surroundings as he suppressed the anger in his heart. He lowered his voice and said, "Dao friends, it wasn't an easy journey to achieve what we have today, and to gain the status we are currently enjoying. As long as you return the treasure, we are still Dao friends. If not, I'm afraid the 10 Celestial Venerables might become 9. The various Celestial Venerables around him were quiet. They also coveted the 2 eggshells of the egg that Celestial Emperor was born from. In the eggshells were the complete imprints of Celestial Emperor's great Dao runes. However, that wasn't the most important thing. Its greatest use was actually to seal the ancient Celestial Emperor. Even if the other Celestial Venerables had the ancient Celestial Emperor's corporeal body, as long as one had the eggshells, he could seal the ancient Celestial Emperor in it, suppressing him. If it could seal the ancient Celestial Emperor's corporeal body, it could seal the divine weapon Celestial Venerable Yu as well. With this treasure, one would have the upper hand among the 10 Celestial Venerables. Pity that there was only 1/2 of it left. Who stole the other half? This was what the 10 Celestial Venerables were most concerned about. Celestial Venerable Hao surveyed his surroundings. Suddenly, he got so angry that he laughed. As he swept his sleeves and left, he said, "It looks like the 10 Celestial Venerables aren't going to be reduced to 9 but 8. He left in a rage, leaving behind the rest of the 7 celestial venerables, who remained silent. Suddenly, Heavenly Lady Qiong broke the silence. When I got here, things were already the way they are now. The treasure wasn't taken by me. I suspect a Dao friend controlled Celestial Emperor's corporeal body, and came here with Crown Prince Ming Ya. Celestial Venerable Xiao said insipidly. After Crown Prince Ming Ya left this place, he left the celestial heavens in a rush. We don't know where he is now. Most likely, he knows something. Why don't we capture him for interrogation? Heavenly Lady Yang stroked her white cat's head and chuckled. Crown Prince Ming Ya has deserted the celestial heavens. That is interesting. Lang Xian God Emperor coughed and said, whichever Dao brother has taken the treasure, it's best to return it, or else it will put us in danger. No one responded. Celestial Venerable Hong held his white beard and solemnly said, to be able to enter this forbidden area, apart from Celestial Emperor's corporeal body, I suppose only the Grand Emperor would have such capability. Ancestral God King, you have seen the abilities of the Grand Emperor, and should be familiar with his methods. Ancestral God King said indifferently, the Grand Emperor indeed has such capability. If he really has infiltrated the celestial heavens and the Heaven Alliance, there's no one who can uncover him. The 7 celestial venerables fell silent again, and were expressionless. Who was the Grand Emperor? Could it be that the Grand Emperor was really hidden among them? The 7 who were present, could one of them be the Grand Emperor? The 7 celestial venerables looked at each other, but at the same time, they avoided each other's gazes. At this moment, any of them could be the Grand Emperor. Even Celestial Venerable Hao, who just left, was one of the suspects. Suddenly, Heavenly Lady Yang took her white cat and left, smiling as she said, Celestial Venerable Hua and Celestial Venerable Shu are back. The other 6 Celestial Venerables hid. Celestial Venerable Hua and Celestial Venerable Shu had rushed back to the celestial heavens. They spent quite a bit of time on their journey, so they were later than Qin Mu by a few days. The Celestial Venerables gathered to listen to Celestial Venerable Hua and Celestial Venerable Shu. They were shocked by their encounters in the Great Void. The encounters described by Celestial Venerable Hua and Celestial Venerable Shu were similar to that of Qin Mu. They consisted of many bizarre encounters like the walking corpses, the city of the masters of creation, the crazy heavenly master Yu, the supreme consciousness realm, and the void bridge. Qin Mu unexpectedly didn't lie, truthfully sharing what he had heard and seen in the Great Void. Celestial Venerable Mu had been a rebel all along. Since when did he become a fiercely loyal and faithful subject? However, according to Celestial Venerable Hua and Celestial Venerable Shu, the Grand Emperor could indeed be hiding among them. Celestial Venerable Hua and Celestial Venerable Shu could immediately sense something strange among the Celestial Venerables. They were guarding against each other, even revealing some animosity. Although the 10 Celestial Venerables weren't very close to each other, they usually guarded against each other secretly. Since when did they start doing so openly? Celestial Venerable Hua frowned slightly as he thought to himself, ever since Celestial Venerable Mu returned to the celestial heavens, the gulf between the 10 Celestial Venerables has grown. It seems that the Heaven Alliance breaking up is almost inevitable. However, the ancient gods aren't eradicated yet. The reason the Heaven Alliance was originally established was to eliminate the rule of the ancient gods. In that case, I suppose you didn't manage to find Carefree Village at the end of the Void Bridge? Ancestral God King asked. Celestial Venerable Hua and Celestial Venerable Shu nodded at the same time. Celestial Venerable Hua said, we were trapped in the middle room. By the time we got out, half a year had passed. At that time, where was Celestial Venerable Mu? Celestial Venerable Gong inquired. Right outside. Celestial Venerable Shu said indifferently, after he saw us, he shut the room's door. When we got out, he was already missing. Celestial Venerable Hao asked the most crucial question. In that case, did Celestial Venerable Mu manage to find Carefree Village? Celestial Venerable Shu shook her head. I don't know. Celestial Venerable Hu glanced at her. Celestial Venerable Shu didn't mention that there were 2 more people with Qin Mu. This puzzled him slightly. He didn't know what this lady was thinking. However, since Celestial Venerable Shu didn't mention it, he didn't either. The 10 Celestial Venerables became quiet, a heavy air around them. Logically, since traces of Carefree Village had been discovered, they should immediately mobilize their troops to attack. Even if they had to suffer terrible losses, the elimination of Carefree Village and founding Emperor made it necessary. But now, they didn't have such thoughts. By comparison, Carefree Village was just a slight ailment. The issue of the Grand Emperor hiding among them was the major disease. Any Celestial Venerable, who used their own power to suppress the Great Void, would face the resistance of the Masters of Creation and Carefree Village. They would lose their troops, weakening their power. The present-day 10 Celestial Venerables of the Celestial Heavens weren't like before. If one's power was weakened and they still embroiled themselves in a life-and-death struggle with founding Emperor Qin Yi, it was more likely that they would perish under a sneak attack from their own men rather than at the hands of their enemies. After all, this was the lesson learned from Great Sun Sovereign. We need to attack Carefree Village. The amiable-looking Celestial Venerable Hong sighed ruefully. I originally thought that the Carefree Village that Celestial Venerable Qin resided in was a land of happiness with no worries. I didn't realize it was such a dangerous place. It's a joke that such a lousy place was named Carefree Village. To attack that place, we need to get past the various dangers of the Great Void. Why not send in the kids to pave the way first? Once the dangers of the outside world have been cleared, we can go forth to meet Qin Yi and those Masters of Creation. The rest of the Celestial Venerables nodded their heads, agreeing. Let the kids from the various great heavens clear a path first before we bother ourselves with Qin Yi. Celestial Venerable Hu frowned and said, Everyone, ordinary gods and devils are useless in the Great Void. You are only sending them to their deaths. The rest of the Celestial Venerables smiled. Celestial Venerable Hu has plenty of disciples and experts under him. Why don't you personally lead your troops to the Great Void to subdue Qin Yi? Celestial Venerable Hu was enraged. He flicked his sleeves as he got up and left angrily. I have been to the Great Void and placed myself in harm's way to get all of this information, while all of you are bickering here. Fools, I'm ashamed of being associated with you. Celestial Venerable Hu still has his fiery temper. Everyone was shaking their heads. At the residence of Celestial Venerable Mu, Hu Linga had already gone to the lower bound while Qin Mu remained in the Celestial Venerable residence. Every day, he spent his time studying the eggshell in front of him, comprehending the rune markings on it. Occasionally, he would banter and joke with Yun Chuxiu and Divine King Lang Wo. Yun Chuxiu was staying in the Celestial Venerable residence. She occupied a room and refused to leave. Periodically, Lian Huahun would come over and spend time with Divine King Lang Wo. Having these 3 ladies around was rather lively. However, when the 3 were together, Qin Mu tried not to participate. Soon, there was news that the Celestial Heavens had decided to use military force against the Great Void. They were recruiting gods and devils from the various great heavens. Hu Linga also sent men with news, informing him that the Celestial Heavens Patriarch Creation Palace had assigned Eternal Peace plenty of work building the required divine weapons. Celestial Venerable, there's a poor relative from the lower bound. He said he is here to seek shelter with you, a palace girl reported. Poor relative. Qin Mu was shocked. He cried, Since when do I have a poor relative? Clearly, they are all rich. Please invite him in. After some time, a palace girl brought an 8-armed devil god in. That devil god looked imposing with 8 arms, 4 faces, and 12 eyes. He bowed and said, "Dutian Devil King pays his respect to Celestial Venerable Mu." Qin Mu hurried forward, smiling as he said, "Old brother Dutian, what brings you here?" That devil god was the Dutian Devil King of the Dutian world. He said with shame, "Dutian world has been destroyed, leaving us to wander among the stars. After we left, Earth Count refined the Dutian world into a horn. Over this period, countless people of my race died of hunger and exhaustion. When we heard that the celestial heavens planned to wage war on the Great Void, we were left with no choice but to seek shelter with the celestial heavens. I heard that there was a celestial Venerable Mu in the celestial heavens. Hence, I felt a little strange. When I asked around, I realized that it was indeed you." Qin Mu laughed as he said, "Isn't it me?" Dutian Devil King sighed ruefully. Who would have thought that the young cult master from back in the day is today's celestial Venerable Mu? In order to meet you, I spent a large amount of money to bribe the guards of Jade Capital City to let me through. The people of the Dutian world are at their wits' ends. On the basis of our past friendship, I implore Celestial Venerable Mu to give us a path of survival." Qin Mu examined him from head to toe as he laughed. "Are you thinking of leaving the Great Void to seek shelter with the celestial heavens?" Dutian Devil King hesitated before whispering, "I think the celestial heavens have ill intentions. If the Great Void was so easy to conquer, the celestial heavens would have countless gods and devils coming forward to fight for glory. As to why the gods and devils are being recruited from the tens of thousands of other worlds and heavens, I'm afraid it's because they are going to be sacrificed." Qin Mu laughed heartily. He raised his hand, wanting to pat him on his shoulder, but he wasn't able to reach him. Dutian Devil King hurriedly bent over. Qin Mu could finally pat him on the shoulder and was pretty satisfied. "That's correct. Old brother Dutian still possesses extraordinary intelligence, and could tell what is wrong with one glance. For this war against the Great Void, the 10 celestial venerables aren't willing to expend their own forces, so they are intentionally sending these people to die." Dutian Devil King's face was full of hardship, as though it had been slashed by knives and hacked by axes. Clearly, these few years were tough for him. He forcefully pushed up his wrinkles to form a smile and said timidly, "Celestial Venerable, in that case, can I ask you to protect my people of Dutian?" Qin Mu's gaze landed on his face as he kept quiet. Dutian Devil King collapsed to his knees and lowered his head. "There aren't many of us left. Celestial Venerable, please grant us a path of survival. I know I let you down and offended you in the past, and I'm willing to offer my head as punishment." Qin Mu shook his head and said, "Please get up. I already have difficulties protecting eternal peace. Where would I have land to settle your people?" Dutian Devil King hurriedly said, "Celestial Venerable could guard my people first, while I go seek military glory in the Great Void. With that, I would be rewarded with land. After which, I would come back for my people." Qin Mu broke into laughter. "You're just courting your death, if you go to the Great Void. Not to mention you, even existences on the numinous Sky Realm, or Emperor's Throne Realm can't be sure whether they can get out alive. There's no way you can achieve military glory there." Part 4:16 end here. Thank you for watching.